So peaceful. I haven't been out for several weeks and I really needed to get out today. This is a little island among the summer isles, one of the closest ones to the village of Ullapool where I live in the northwest. And it's such a calm evening, and tomorrow is supposed to be calm and sunny, so fingers crossed I'll get a really nice day tomorrow. This little island was actually on sale at one point a few years ago. I don't know if anybody bought it. I don't know why you would buy an island like this. I mean, I don't think you'd be allowed to build anything on it. Thankfully there's no signs that someone did build it and has any mind to develop it. So it's very, very, very peaceful. Lovely. But the island and my camping for the night and stuff, that's not my main focus for this video. It's now a year since I last kind of did a summary, a subscriber update on how I'm getting on and what my goals are for doing the channel. And I also just wanted to have a bit of a chat, particularly with people who are regular watchers and might be welcoming my videos into your home every couple of weeks. It's been a hell of a year for my channel. My subscriber count has more than tripled since last year. This time last year I was talking about hoping that I would get to 1,000 subscribers before Christmas, and by the time this video goes out I could be over 3,000, I don't know, but I'm close to that at the moment. I have done a number of firsts for me. I've camped underground. I have been off on a multi-day solo walk through the Sahara in the sand dunes of the Sahara. I have camped among wolves also in North Africa on that same trip. I've been smashing away to get through the ice with my packraft on Loch Marie, various other things, and of course the big project has been freshwater snorkeling. So going into lochs and lochans and the occasional stream, which was also a very, very wonderful experience. So to everyone who has discovered me and my channel over the last year, thanks for jumping on board and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's been meteoritic growth at times over the summer, and although compared to big YouTubers I am pretty modest at this point, if things keep going at this rate then I will be well underway this time next year to making this a significant part of my living, because that is the goal. It's also been hard over the last few months to fit in making videos and find time and energy to do it, although it's extremely important for me psychologically because I've been on an emotional roller coaster ride. My mother passed away in July, and that occupied a hell of a big chunk of my emotional life over the last few months. And I've also been struggling to compartmentalize all of the stuff that's going on in the world. It's really very depressing at the moment. And that's been a big roller coaster ride as well, but that is a discussion for another day. So in terms of YouTube and doing other aspects of my creative work, it's been quite a challenge, but also a blessing because it gives me something to focus on, which does really help me psychologically to focus on something which is always extremely helpful for me in the longer run and take my mind off some of the heavier stuff that I might be dealing with. But in terms of putting the videos together and going out and doing these trips, it's been great fun as well, I have to say, despite everything else going on in the background. Thank you, of course, to everybody who has been with me almost from the beginning. And I know some people who have joined later have actually gone back and watched through all or most of my videos that I've done in the past. And I'm really, really delighted that people are enjoying it, because although when I put up a new video, that suddenly gets most of the views that it ever gets, and then they just kind of get forgotten because that's the world that we live in and that's the way that the algorithm works. So it's really nice that once those older ones are done, which are most of which of equal quality to the other ones, that people are still going back and getting some enjoyment from them. So if you've joined recently, have a look at some of the older ones. And I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has bought some of my merchandise, like my greetings cards off my website or prints, and also to anybody who has donated a little bit of cash via Buy Me a Coffee or signed up on Patreon to give me a small monthly payment. That is very, very much appreciated. At the end of the day, I love doing these trips. I love making these videos and I love taking photographs and writing. The long-term plan is to have my YouTube output as my primary kind of free online creative output. And although I am at the stage now where I'm making a little bit of money from the advertising revenue that comes in from it, realistically I'm approaching it from the direction of trying to make a living from my other output, actual physical things such as my greetings cards, my prints. I have a calendar coming soon, but I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Public talks. I've talked about starting to do public talks, and I have been doing the odd one mainly for schools so far, but I also have experienced public speaking in universities and museums. Now it's coming up to Christmas and the greetings cards are still available via the shop on my website. My calendar should be coming out in the next couple of weeks if it's not up on the website already, so keep an eye out. And then other things that I'm making, so I'm working on a book. It's a memoir about various adventures that I've had all over the world over the last 25 years or so, since I've been doing a lot of traveling and spending time in the wilderness. And then there's also going to be a photo book in the pipeline, along with a couple of exhibitions to go along with that a little bit further down the road. So I've got a lot of balls that I'm juggling at the moment as part of this overall picture of being a professional creative. I've also had a couple of trolls pop up this year for the first time, which I think is a real reflection of the times that we live in, especially with online life, that if you get past a certain level of popularity, you've got to expect that some people are going to throw hateful words at you, and there's absolutely nothing that I can do about that. When it first happened, it really shook me. But it wasn't long before I was able to kind of reframe it in my head and put it away, and anything subsequently has not really shaken me. You know, constructive criticism is one thing, but hateful comments are just someone who has a lot of problems, and putting those in the comment sections of what I think are pretty innocuous videos that I make says a lot more about the person making the comment than it does about what I'm doing. On the flip side of that, of course, it's really nice to receive some often very sweet and very encouraging comments, which comes up with every video. I see some regulars, some people who have only posted once, and just saying how much it means to some people, especially people who might be too elderly or might just not have the ability for whatever reason to get out and do this sort of thing themselves anymore, or maybe they never were but always wanted to. And it's really special to be able to bring these places into people's lives, even in a small way, and receive the feedback from people who really get into it. One thing which I have said in the past, and I am equally as passionate about it now and intend to be in perpetuity, is not putting my online content behind a paywall like some people do. Times are hard for a lot of people right now, and the reasons for that are a whole other conversation, and it doesn't have to be that way, but they are. So it's very important to me that people, especially people who might not be all that financially flush, are able to access my material if it doesn't cost me anything to actually produce these videos, for example. That being said, for regular watchers who may not have done it in the past, what would be a really big help is if people are able to share the channel or my videos. Not so much this one, because this is aimed at people who are already regulars here, but my other videos, especially if you really think it's a good one, share it on your social media feeds or point it out to a friend, or if you're part of some kind of outdoor club or photography club or whatever, share it with people there and spread the word, because it really helps to get the algorithm recommending my videos and then getting me closer to making this properly self-sustaining and earning something of a living from it. The other thing that would really help is I got an email recently from YouTube saying that they are expanding this hype button. So if there's a button below this video which says hype, it would be great if you could click that. It's a feature which is specifically developed for small YouTube channels. So now small means under, I think, 150,000 subscribers, and I'm a long way from that at the moment. So within the first few days of a video being up, the hype button will be there. At least it will in some countries. I haven't seen it yet, but it might be up by the time the video goes live. And every time that gets a click, it helps to bump small timers up so that they can actually compete on the home screen for new viewers who might not already be familiar with my content. So that would be great if you could do that. I'm just going to enjoy the atmosphere now for the rest of the evening. It's really clouding over, and I think it might end up drizzling soon. But tomorrow's supposed to be sunny, so when tomorrow comes, if tomorrow never comes, I will get back to you and tell you the rest of what I wanted to talk about in this little update for all you lovely people. Pretty soggy so far today. No sign at all of the glorious sunny weather that was forecast yesterday. Anyhow, for the first couple of years of making videos for this channel, I was concentrating on a frequency of putting out a video about once every 10 to 12 days. And for the time being, I'm switching that to putting one out every second Sunday, so once every fortnight. Because what I've found is that it was fine for a little while when I was really just concentrating on building up a bit of a viewership. But now that I'm trying to diversify and put more effort into other aspects of my work, I need to give myself a little bit more of a gap. I mean, it might not look like it because they're only about 20 to 25 minutes long, but for each video I make, it's about 4 or 5 days of work. So I'll spend a couple of days out in the field, 1 or 2 nights, and then I'll spend about a similar amount editing and just sitting in front of the computer and putting it all together until it gets to a stage where I'm reasonably happy with it. I'm never 100% happy with anything that I make, but I get as close to that goal as I can. And I could conceivably put out a video every week like a lot of people do, but each one wouldn't be anywhere near the quality that it is now. I certainly wouldn't be able to go camping frequently enough to have a camping video out every week, and the videos would be shorter, they wouldn't be as thought out, and it's not what I want to produce. At the end of the day, I'm making videos that I would want to watch on YouTube if I were me, which I am. That's a strange way to put it, but you know what I mean. So for that, I need at least 10 days in between each one to give me the time to do it. And the extra time is allowing me to kind of have 1 week on, 1 week off, concentrating on videos and otherwise concentrating on the other aspects of my work, particularly when it comes to writing my book, because that takes a lot of effort, and I really need to have dedicated days in order to focus, because writing is the thing that I find the most challenging. I need to be in the zone, and it can take a couple of days to get into the zone, and then I can hammer away pretty contentedly for a while before coming back into video mode. And also when it comes to making videos, I do care about growing my audience, but I'm not interested in overly catering to the algorithm. Certainly not if it compromises my creative integrity, because creating something which I think is interesting, which I think is worth watching, is priority one by far. Same goes for advertising and sponsorship. I am open to sponsorship and working with advertisers, but not to the extent that it's going to compromise the way that I make my videos in any way. I would never gear my main videos. I might make an extra video here and there, but I would never gear my primary videos, which come out on a certain schedule, in order to cater for the needs or wants of an advertiser that might be sponsoring me. So far, that hasn't really been a factor. I think I've just been too small to attract much attention. But if the growth rate continues that I've been enjoying over the last 12 months, I might be in a different position and saying very different things in a year's time. But I promise it's not going to make a difference to my regular videos that are coming out in any significant way. So what is coming up over the coming months and the year ahead? Well, immediately, the snow is probably not that far away. There's certainly a chill in the air. The summer is very much behind us now, and I'm expecting to get out for more snowy winter mountaineering trips this winter than I have in the previous two, because I can't afford to go on an exotic trip, which I have prioritized in a big way in the previous couple of years. And so I will be mostly Scotland based, although I do have one video left from my Tunisia trip last year, which might go out at some point when I need a little bit more time to do other things over the winter, or during a period when the weather is so foul that I just don't want to go out. Once we start getting into spring and summer next year, I am heading back out to explore more freshwater locations when the weather and the fresh waters start to get warmer. It is part of a big ongoing project, and next summer will be the second summer where it is my main priority when it comes to videos and when it comes to photography. I'm pleased that this year, despite the fact that they are really quite interesting, I've got the murkiest habitats out of the way, at least I think so. A river and maybe another big loch next summer might end up being fairly murky, but we'll see. I haven't really done rivers yet, so that's coming up next year. I haven't done any paragliding since the spring, and I don't go paragliding in the really cold winter months because my poor circulation means that I'm not comfortable flying, because my fingers, even with thick gloves, tend to freeze, and I don't feel entirely safe flying in that situation. So if you haven't seen any of my paragliding videos and are interested in having a look at them, for example, I camped on the top of and then flew off Sullivan a little bit earlier than this time last year, so that one was quite exciting. Go back and have a look at them. What I would really like to do over the next 6 months, and there's nothing realistically stopping me, is doing a little bit more caving. I love caving, and I have the best area for caving in Scotland just up the road. So trying another cave camp or two would be something which is very much high on my priority list. And then, of course, also a bit more paddling, pack rafting and kayaking. I never intended for this to be a walking channel or a hiking channel. I know a lot of people get very focused on a particular activity, But it's not the activity which interests me. I'm just really interested in wild places, in wilderness. And how I get there is of course part of the fun, but it's never going to be the focus. It's about what's there and what's the experience of being there like, and what lives there and what are the conditions like. That's what I'm trying to do here. So that's about it for this one. I am all set for my 6-kilometer paddle back to the real world. As I always say, if you are not a subscriber already, please subscribe. If by some chance you came across this video, which was really intended for people who are already familiar with my work. So if you have, then have a look at my earlier work, because I think you will find most of that to be considerably more interesting than this. If you regularly watch my videos, have a think about signing up via my Patreon page. There's no special packages on that, as I said earlier. It's just an entirely voluntary thing which will help me to finance these trips and my life in general, and get me closer to the goal of making all of my creative endeavors self-sustaining and making some kind of a living from it. The next video will be back to the usual format. So for the next year, I intend to keep putting out a video, as I have been doing, as regularly as I can. And I have no idea where it's going to be. Who knows? Maybe the snow will already be there and I'll be high up in the mountains, like I was in November last year, taking photographs of the snow and freezing my butt off, but we'll see. So until that time comes, have a lovely couple of weeks. Now I'm off back to shore. I just had to. Oh, look at that. It's a pot of porpoise. There's one right there that keeps coming up. I know I'd already signed off, but with these porpoise here, I gotta film it. So quiet. Not a breath of wind.